Welcome to Module 3 on the Healthy Schools BC Learning Framework. The Learning Framework draws together and connects the processes, resources, and enhanced supports for implementing a CSH approach, and it's been evolving ever since it was originally created back in 2011. You can see just by looking at the Learning Framework that it's very comprehensive and somewhat complex, as it supports those working towards improving healthy schools through phases in a cyclical process. There are 4 main rings in the framework, along with a few guiding questions. The outermost ring, which is the newest ring we've added, are competencies students will demonstrate as they go through the steps outlined in the green ring. The green ring is the process that schools or a class would go through, and these are broken down into 5 phases: getting started, gathering evidence, focus, plan, gather, support, and act, and then evaluate and reflect on how it all went. Very close to this ring are the guiding questions, which support inquiry-based learning. The next ring is the inner ring, and it's where there are opportunities for health authority staff or community partners to support schools as they move through this Healthy Schools process. And finally, the innermost ring is comprehensive school health, which really puts the learner, or the student, at the center of the learning process. It's important to note that these actions in the learning framework can be used at the classroom level or at the school or school district level. At the most basic level, the learning framework outlines the steps involved in creating a healthy school through inquiry and also reflects the continuous nature of an inquiry approach. When inquiry is used in a student's learning experience, they are fully engaged in a personally meaningful way that enhances their understanding of the topic. Because inquiry is a complete learning process, the framework helps to guide them through this complete process. So the learning framework recognizes that not all change needs to occur at once, but rather it's a continual cycle of assessing where you're at, determining a key area of focus, with the understanding that other things can be addressed later. So I know we just covered a lot of information on the learning framework in the previous slide, but if you find that you still have any questions or would like to learn a little bit more about the learning framework, I encourage you to watch this short video that we created. The video walks viewers through each step of the learning framework, as well as provides examples and testimonials from schools at each of the different steps.
What is the Healthy Schools BC Learning Framework? The Learning Framework was developed to connect the tools, resources, and supports involved when people work together to make the school the best possible place to learn, work, and play. This is the Healthy Schools process. A lot of different groups have an interest in creating a healthy school. Students, teachers, parents, health professionals, and community partners. Both the health and education sector are represented in the Learning Framework. So let's take a closer look. At the center of it all is comprehensive school health. It is the foundation of this work. It represents all the components of a school. The next ring highlights opportunities for health authorities and/or community partners to support schools. The green ring is the teacher/school process and displays the key steps involved in creating a healthy school. It is linked to a process where students are deeply involved in their learning to build new understanding about health. This is called inquiry. Look at the key learning questions in between these 2 rings. We think it is important to get students at the center of the action, leading the way in the inquiry. So do they.
I'm not sure, but sometimes they just don't listen, but when a student is teaching a student, the students know how to interest the students, but the teacher sort of doesn't.
Because they're students.
Yes, who knows a student more than a student?
The very outer ring highlights some of the competencies students will demonstrate as they go through these steps. Learn, think, innovate, collaborate, and contribute. Now let's go back to the actual steps in the green ring. Getting started is all about, well, getting started. This may involve talking to others about getting involved, or deciding how you will incorporate Healthy Schools inquiry into your classroom.
They just need to be a sounding board. They don't have to do a lot. Students are very eager to do. It's amazing what students do.
And when they have the choice of what
Exactly.
they're doing, they come up with their own ideas of where we're going to go.
Ooh, absolutely. High school students are amazing. Amazing.
Gathering evidence is the next step. This is really about generating conversations with students, finding out what being healthy means to them and what question they could ask that would stimulate their thinking about health. The more interested they are in their question, the more engaged they will be.
We identified healthy relationships as being a key component to the difficulty we were having with our grade 8s. So, the students weren't having particularly healthy relationships with the staff, and they weren't having very healthy relationships with each other.
Focus is a key step. It is where you and/or your students determine what their focus or inquiry question will be.
So we started on a project that's healthy breakfast with students in our school to see if it would help their attitudes in school and their academic progress. So in our school we noticed that at the beginning, because students were doing it, tons of students were coming in and getting connected to the student leaders.
These next steps are all about taking action and getting other people involved. Students will make a plan. The plan should answer the questions, what will we focus on now? Who else should be involved? How will we know we have made progress? And then you get started.
At the beginning it started out with the V-Day kids, and because none of them could get to school, I had to do it by myself for 3 months. And then these guys kept on coming in and seeing that I was by myself, so they helped and it's become one big team.
Finally, they evaluate and reflect. This could be on their results, their contribution to their own health, or the health of others. It's important to collect data at the end to see what worked well and what didn't. This will help students reflect. Where did we start? What did we learn? What would we do differently next time? And where to go next? Finally, tell others about what you did. Share your story. You never know who will be inspired.
Really didn't know how to take charge that well until I did the breakfast program.
I didn't realize how powerful we were, being so also at a half adult, half kid stage. I think that it was a way stronger relationship bond that we had with them.
You back to the beginning. Although the steps are laid out in a linear way in the framework, the process is more of a spiral where you can move back and forth between steps depending on what you learn. For more information on the learning framework, student inquiry, and the Healthy Schools process, please visit www.healthyschoolsbc.ca.
So if you still have questions about the learning framework or anything else that we've covered so far in this learning session, please feel free to get in touch with us at DASH. Again, you can call us at 604-681-0600 or email us at info@bc.ca. Congratulations! You've just completed Module 3 on the Healthy Schools BC Learning Framework. If you've been going through this learning session in order, we encourage you to move on to Module 4, which will cover the Healthy Schools BC Resource Guide for Teaching and Learning.